Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Before we begin, let's ask one simple question. If nothing is wrong, why are so many people reacting as if the world is falling apart? Just two people standing side by side at an airport. No drama. No exaggerated gestures. No cameras being forced closer. Yet within minutes, hatred erupted. Organized. Filled with anger. Not because of what they did, but because of who they are when they're together. Today, we're going to talk about why the quietest moments are often the most disturbing. Why the simple togetherness of Jimin and Jungkook is capable of dismantling narratives built with such confidence. And why the reactions we're seeing are not signs of certainty, but of fear. The moment Jimin and Jungkook were seen standing together at the airport, a wave of backlash immediately mobilized. Quickly, as if there were people waiting for that exact moment, on standby, watching, ready to strike at the first sign of closeness between them. And yet, let's be honest, nothing extraordinary happened. There was no dramatic scene. No forced interaction. They were simply there, walking side by side, chatting casually, sharing space in a way that felt natural. Something that should not have triggered anything. And yet, that very simplicity became the spark for mockery, attacks, and hateful comments. Especially from a segment of Jikookers who seemed genuinely unable to process what they were seeing. Because the truth is simple, yet difficult for them to accept. Seeing Jikook calm, relaxed, and interacting naturally is unsettling. Not because it's loud, but because it's too quiet, too real, too effortless, too self-sufficient to require any defense. And when an ordinary moment provokes such an extreme reaction, it's usually not because the moment is big, but because a nerve has been touched. Ironically, just days earlier, those same voices were laughing with confidence, almost arrogance. They claimed their ship was the only real one. They said Jimin had drifted away, that the closeness was over, that everything that once existed was now just a memory. They spoke with the certainty of people who believed they possessed a hidden truth. And then, without warning, Jikook appeared. They met. They talked. They interacted. And the carefully constructed narrative began to collapse. The cracks were suddenly visible. That's when it became clear that the issue was never truly about a lack of evidence. The issue was fear. Fear that reality would never fully conform to what they wanted to believe. Because if they were truly confident, they wouldn't react like this. They wouldn't attack with desperation. They wouldn't feel compelled to discredit every small gesture, every word, every glance. They would simply move on. But they don't. Instead, they become obsessed. They invade Jikook spaces, Jikook channels, Jikook comment sections, discussions that were never meant for them. And that's where the unavoidable question arises. If you are so confident in your own ship, why not stay there and enjoy it? Why is there such a strong need to attack Jikook? And especially, to attack Jimin? Because the pattern is clear. Almost always the same. Jimin becomes the primary target. The comments directed at him are disproportionate, cruel, and completely unacceptable. The labels used aren't just insulting, they're unfair. They accuse him of fan service, while what they leave behind in comment sections is far worse than anything they claim to criticize. Many of those comments get deleted, not because they never existed, but because they're too vile to repeat. And yet they always come back. Again and again. Different accounts, different faces, same intent. Because they're not looking for discussion. They're not looking for dialogue. They want to provoke reactions. They want to disrupt. They want to force a narrative through noise. And at this point, it becomes obvious that this isn't about loving one ship. It's about rejecting the existence of another. So we return to the core question they keep avoiding. How afraid are they really of Jikook interactions? If they truly believe everything Jimin and Jungkook do is manufactured, why react like this? If they're so sure Jikook isn't real, why does every small moment force them into elaborate justifications, distortions, and denials? The answer is simple, even if uncomfortable. Because they're not sure. Their confidence isn't as solid as they claim. And every time Jimin and Jungkook appear together, that confidence wavers. Every greeting, every conversation, every small shared moment triggers a defensive response. That's not certainty. That's insecurity. But the discussion doesn't end there. Because there's another issue that needs to be addressed, one just as important: the behavior of some people within the Jikook fandom itself. Those who claim to love Jikook, yet feel threatened when Jimin or Jungkook interact with other members, friends, or anyone who doesn't fit their idealized narrative. If your love is conditional, then it isn't love. If your support disappears when they live outside your storyline, then something is wrong. And if your opinion turns into attacks against one of them, that's not support. That's projection. Jimin and Jungkook owe nothing to anyone. They don't need to act a certain way to validate someone else's beliefs. They don't need to limit their relationships or their world to preserve fan fantasies. Believing in their connection does not give anyone the right to diminish their bonds with others or invent stories of betrayal, enemies, or malicious intent just to protect an illusion. That isn't analysis. That isn't support. That's projection. If you don't like something, you always have a choice. Stop consuming it, step away, or stay silent. But spreading toxicity that turns into attacks on Jimin or Jungkook crosses a line. Because at the end of the day, they are real people. With real emotions. With real relationships. They are not fictional characters meant to shape their lives around someone else's desires. Meanwhile, Jikook remain effortless, unexplained. In recent days, speculation has surfaced again. Claims that they're rarely seen together now, simply because they haven't appeared side by side publicly for a while. This is where the biggest mistake happens, confusing what isn't seen with what doesn't exist. Not everything real needs to be public. Jikook's closeness has never been measured by frequency of appearances, but by the quality of their connection. By the natural understanding they share. By the comfort that radiates when they're in the same space, even in the simplest moments. And that's precisely why the small moments we do see, like at the airport heading to Lisbon, speak louder than some want to admit. They're not acting. They're not forcing anything. They appear mature, stable, and whole. Because a genuine connection doesn't need constant proof. Jikook have never tried to convince anyone. They don't shout. They don't defend themselves. They don't explain. They simply exist, calm, natural, and complete in the same space. And that is exactly what's hardest to accept for those who survive on denial. A real connection isn't measured by how often it's seen, but by a comfort that doesn't need to be proven. While some people remain loud, Jikook keep moving forward, without excessive effort, without public validation, without explaining anything. And maybe that's the most honest answer of all. Thank you for watching Jikook Moments.